great channel. I'm your teacher Aishwarya and I'm going to be helping you out with the chapter Control and Coordination, where today we are going to be looking at the top 20 PYQs or the top 20 previous year question paper questions that are there. And let me tell you, this of course is not part of the Jeet Ka Josh but rather part of our 1000 PYQ challenge that is going on, right? So as we know, we have 1000 PYQs in store for all of you, and trust me, as a part of it, across subjects from maths, physics, chemistry, biology, social sciences, we are going to be helping you out with the practice. So I hope all of you are ready and excited for today. Now I do understand a lot of you have your pre-boards going on, and I'm sure that some of you must be coming mid your pre-boards, but nonetheless I hope all of you are excited, and please do share this video with all of your friends so that it will definitely help you out. Now I can see that a lot of you are here already. Yes, okay. Hello Rajneesh, hi Taruna, hi Chotu sa bachcha, hello Nila, hello Mantesha. Good evening everybody, good evening. Now I have a small request for all of you. Two things. First, please make sure that you have a notebook and pen ready with you, right? Have your notebooks and pens in your hand, right? Have your textbook open with you. Make sure you have a bottle of water as well, because it's going to be very, very important that we keep taking breaks. Now you will ask me, ma'am, how long is this class going to be? This class is going to be for 2 hours, okay? And very quickly, everybody, in between, if at all we do require a break, after 10 questions, I will give you a 5-minute break so that you can take a breather, drink some water, and then we will go ahead with the next set of questions, okay? So 20 questions are going to be there. They are all going to be subjective questions, and very importantly, there is going to be no mentee. Okay, it is not going to be a mentee class. All right, so very quickly everybody, have your notebooks and pens. It's going to be a normal class but a very important one, because if you do know, we know that control and coordination was deleted from the syllabus last year, right? We know that last year control and coordination was not there, but now this year control and coordination is there. And very honestly, in the chat, how many of you are scared of the questions that will come from this chapter? How many of you are thinking, ma'am, nervous system, endocrine system, coordination in plants, बहुत सारे complicated questions आने वाला है. How am I going to study? How am I going to prepare? Are we worried? Are there any of my students who are worried? Yes, very good. Exactly. It has high weightage. Okay. All right, ma'am, I'm very bad in biology and I'm so sad. If you're bad in biology, bacha, don't think that way. I'm here for you. Ankita ma'am is here for you. We'll help you out. And trust me, by the end of today's class, you will feel confident about control and coordination, right? That's my promise to you. Ma'am, I'm not scared. That's amazing. If you are not scared, then I am nothing to be worried about, right? So if you're not scared, then one thing I will tell you is that with this today's class, you will be 100% pakka with your confidence, right? It will become so much more better. But always consider these kind of classes as practice for all of you. Incorporate this into your study schedule, right? So that it will help you out. So everyone, quickly before I get started, I'll not spend too much of time, but I really hope all of you have liked this video. Yes, have you all hit that like button? And I hope all of you have subscribed to the channel, right? So please make sure that you subscribe to our channel. Yes, okay. When is our next SST class for 10th standard? Most likely, because of the schedule, it will be next week, wherein we are going to be doing the previous year questions from history, okay? Yes, I will start jaldi fatafat, but quickly bachas, all of you like this video, share this video with all of your friends, right? Very, very important that you share it. We need to hit at least 100 likes today, okay? And again, one last reminder from my end. I want to make sure that you all stay focused in class. So if at all unnecessary conversations happen today, you all know, right, that you will get blocked or timed out by our moderator, and I will also not entertain those conversations, right? So this is just a quick reminder for all of you to maintain the decorum of the class. Very good. Like kar diya, bas. Now we all know, right, we have 1000 PYQs going on, Jeet Ka Josh is going on. I mean, of course, Jeet Ka Josh is more or less done, but we have 1000 PYQs going on for all of you. So please make sure that you subscribe to 9 and 10, because 9th and 10th grade channel has gotten very, very serious about your academics, okay? We want to make sure that all of you are getting super prepared for your pre-boards and your final exams. So here we don't come to do time pass, but here we come to make sure that you learn, right? Now learning also comes in different ways. If you want to take a break from your daily learning and if you feel like, ma'am, बहुत सारा learning हो गया, we have some interesting thing coming to you on BYJU'S, the learning app, where you will find your same old teachers, me, Saurabh sir, Arsh ma'am, Khushbu ma'am, Kriti ma'am, Ankita ma'am, everybody. And we will be having live quizzes starting from 19th of December next week. So everybody, if you've not downloaded the app yet, then you know that now is the time to download it because you will be finding us there, right? So everybody, very quickly, a Josh check. How are we feeling? Are we excited? Are we ready? जल्दी मैं करूंगी बच्चा, but quickly give me a thumbs up in the chat. Are we good to go? Are we good to go, everyone? Yes? Okay, yes, Josh is high, interested to know about it. Yes, ma'am, will I get the PDF? You will get the PDF, Devishi. You will be getting it on the Telegram channel. So everybody quickly make sure that if you want to join Telegram, link is again there in the description of this video. Very good. So this right here is the first question. First question number 1, and actually this question number 1 actually has two parts, A and B, which will have 1 mark each, and this is from 2018. Alright. So the question is, name one gustatory receptor and one olfactory receptor in human beings. Yes, one gustatory receptor and one olfactory receptor. Now you are going to get half mark each for this. Yes, very good. So gustatory, what does gustatory mean? What does olfactory mean? Very good, exactly. It is tongue and nose, and you need to write it in the proper order, right? So now for those of you who might be a little confused on what are receptors. What are receptors? They are nothing but they are specialized cells that have the ability to perceive certain stimuli or external agents, right? So that is what we mean by it. Now we have different receptors in our body. We have photoreceptors, olfactory receptors, gustatory, phono and thermoreceptors. Now olfactory receptors are those that detect smell, which are found in the nose. Gustatory receptors are those that help us in taste, and they are present in the tongue. Right? So the correct answer when you are writing it, you will get 1 mark. So half mark here for saying gustatory receptors are present in taste buds of the tongue. Olfactory receptors are those which are present in the nasal chamber. Or you can write in the nose, you will get half mark for this. 1 mark easily you will get it. Okay? Very simple and easy question. Right? Now let's move on to the second part of it. Write down A and B in the given flow chart of a neuron in which information travels as an electric impulse. So you need to identify what is A and B. Half mark for A, half mark for B. Very quickly. We have dendrite A, B and end point of neuron. What is it going to be? Yes, everybody. Hello, Anmol. Hello. Welcome to the class. Okay, someone says cotton and axon. Is it cotton? Or is it cyton? What will it be? Ma'am, can I go to make notes for this chapter? You can make. See, like I said, if you don't want to watch this video right now, you can always come back and watch the video, right? I always tell you this. So you can go back and watch this video later also. No problem, Tanishq. Cell body and axon. Yes, for those of you who told me cell body and axon, you are correct, right? So we know dendrites are the ones which receive the impulse, and then it goes to cyton or cell body, right? And from the cell body, it goes to a long cytoplasmic process that is there, which is the axon. And from the axon, it will reach the axon terminals or the end of the axon. So what is A? A here will be cell body. And B right here is going to be axon. So you need to write both of this down. You will get half mark. Now here there is one representation wherein you complete the flow chart. But also I would like to add you to make sure that you write it in this way. A is cell body and B is axon. If you write this down, then only you will get half mark for each and 1 mark will be given to you. So here we are not just telling you about how or what is the answer, right? but at the same time we are also helping you out with how you have to write the answer. So there are two things that we are doing in today's PYQ. Ma'am, I have not completed this chapter yet. Any tips? Rishi, if you want an in-depth explanation of this chapter, you can check out the one-shots that have been done on the channel. There is one that I have done, one Ankita Ma'am has done, right? Now, if you want a chapter under 45 minutes, Ankita Ma'am has just covered it today. Start with it. But before you do both of it, read the chapter, watch the one-shot, come and watch the PYQ. You will be sorted for control and coordination. So we are clear with this, right? First question, easy peasy. Now we will move on to the next one, okay? So next one is to write down the main functions of the following. Now this particular question has 4 subparts, okay? So we have A, B, C and D, and again as you know 1 mark for each. So a total of 4 marks, okay? So very quickly everybody, what is the function of sensory neuron? Yes Tanish, you can go and make notes for this chapter. Not a problem. Not a problem. Come back and watch the video. What is the function of sensory neuron? Very good. To receive information from sensory organs. Tarun, I will say it is half right. It is half right. To receive stimulus. See, to receive the stimulus is the job of the receptor. No receptor is responsible for receiving the information from the stimulus. But what is the role of sensory neuron? Yes? They transfer from receptor to spinal cord. Yes. Sense impulse from receptor organ. Okay. Sensed. Yes. Very good. For those of you who are telling me it is responsible for transporting it from one place to another, you guys are right. Because now if you write only saying that it will transfer information to central nervous system or it is responsible for perceiving information, answer is incomplete. Okay. So what is a sensory neuron? It's always easy for me to explain this with the help of the this one, reflex arc, right? And see, this came in my science pre-board today. Exactly, which is why PYQs are very, very important. So what is the job of a sensory neuron? So this is responsible for transmitting impulses from where to where? From the receptor to the central nervous system. So, and where you talk about sense organs, right? Where do we find these sensory neurons? Sensory neurons are found in the sense organs, right? So here if you think about it, like your eye will have the, eyes, ears, all of them will have these sensory neurons, okay? Ma'am, should we specify receptor and spinal cord? Don't say spinal cord, okay? Always remember, it is not that only sensory neuron will take it from receptor to spinal cord. If you write spinal cord, you will probably get your marks cut. If I was your examiner, I will cut marks, okay? Because not like it's going only to spinal cord. No, it's also going to your brain. So technically you should write central nervous system. Okay? Are we clear? Yes, Shafi. Please ask me your doubt. Others, are we clear with the answer of how you should write the function of sensory neuron? Because here they're specifying the main function. Right? So are we clear, everybody? Yes. Ma'am, everywhere, where will it be? See, mainly it comes from your sense organs. So if you look at it, from your eyes you have optic nerve, right? You have optic nerve which comes out. This optic nerve will be made up of many, many sensory neurons, right? Ma'am, which movement is observed in Mimosa pudica? It's called as thigmonasty, okay? It's called as thigmonasty, Shafi. Ma'am, won't it be motor neuron? No. See, when it's from receptor to spinal cord, it's transmitting information. Motor neuron is the other way around, from CNS to effector, so that it can transport, right? So that it's responsible for transmitting impulse and telling which part of the body has to do what, right? Okay. Yes, Momzi, I remember your doubt, but you can remind it to me once again. Is it nastic or tropic? Nastic. It is a nastic movement. Ma'am, is it necessary to mention CNS? I will prefer that you mention CNS. It's preferable to be more specific when you are writing, especially with science. I always tell you to be more specific. Yes, okay. Are we clear or have we still not understood? Ma'am, difference between sensory and motor. I might be giving you the answer to the rest of the next question, but nonetheless, I will tell you this. So you have sensory neuron and you have motor neuron, right? So for those of you who want to take a screenshot of what I'm about to write, you can write it down, okay? Now again, let me tell you, sensory neurons are those neurons which transmit impulses, okay? So impulses are transmitted from sense organs, or from, I would say, receptor to CNS. While here, motor neuron is responsible for transmitting impulses from where? Transmitted from CNS to effector, right? So here if you see, this is the main difference between sensory and motor. Take a screenshot of this, everybody, and then let me know. Everyone, quickly. After taking the screenshot, let me know in the chat. Yes, very good. So this is the main difference between sensory and motor. Now some of you are asking me, ma'am, CNS and PNS. For those of you who are going to ask me for CNS and PNS, please let me know. Please wait for some time because I'm going to get to that part in just a bit. I'll explain it to you then, okay? Now everybody, so when you're writing it, it is found in the sense organs, right? And they transmit impulses towards the central nervous system. So again, like I said, transmit impulses from where to where? From the receptors to the CNS. That is what you have to write. Now moving on to the next one. What is the main function of the cranium? You have to only write function of cranium, 1 mark. Keyword you should tell me. When you are writing about cranium, what is the key word? Yes, everyone, quickly. Harika, I am going to get to that. There's a lot of questions which are going to be there. So, please let me know. I'll get to that point. Rishabh, I actually forgot your question in history class. So, you can remind me, no? I'll explain it to you. Very good, yes. So the key word when you are writing about cranium is protection. So their main function is to protect the brain, right? So we know that the cranium is also known as the brain box, and it protects the brain from mechanical injury and shock, right? So you need to write these points, and your key word should be protection, right? So if you do not write about protection, it will become very difficult. 3-layer fluid covering is not the cranium, Giridhar. 3-layer membrane. See, 3-layer membrane that is there is your meninges, right? And between the meninges, what do we find? Between the meninges, we find the CSF, that is the cerebrospinal fluid, okay? All right. Ma'am, what is, it is about eutrophication, okay? Eutrophication might digress us from the chapter control and coordination, but nonetheless I'll tell you, Rishabh, eutrophication is a condition, right, wherein we know that due to the accumulation of chemical pollutants and everything, we know that it accumulates in the lake for a long period of time, wherein it gets polluted, resulting in eutrophication, and then we know that this will eventually lead to algal bloom, right? Yes, so that is what we understand as eutrophication. Ma'am, uske andar fluid hota hai, ma'am. Membrane के बीच में fluid होता है, right? So that is what we call. So basically we find the cerebrospinal fluid between the meninges. Yes? Okay. All right. No problem, Rishabh. No problem. Moving on, everybody. Main function of vertebral column. Prachi, I do not want any parallel conversations in the chat. I am very, very serious about this. So stay focused, bacha, please. Okay. Hello, Shivani. Hello. Yes. What is the function of vertebral column? Okay, for those of you who have your science pre-boards tomorrow, all the very best. Ma'am, does it protect from shock? When you say shock, it's not electric shock, okay? So, but normally when you fall also, there's a shock which gets generated, right? So the bony encasing that is there protects from mechanical shocks and jerks. Very good. The main role of the vertebral column is the fact that it is a bony covering that protects the spinal cord, right? So this is the main function of it. So protection of spinal cord. So again, we know that the main thing that you need to write about is the protection of spinal cord here. All right, for those of you who have your pre-boards tomorrow, all the very best. I'm sure that you will rock your pre-boards. I am 100% confident. Okay. Ma'am, fluid present in vertebral column. Fluid, see, do not mention fluid, okay, because I'll tell you how. The thing is, if you say fluid, both vertebral column and your cranium are bones. So don't say fluid. So make sure that you specify it's a bony casing. The term bony needs to be there, okay? Now everybody, some of you are asking me, ma'am, how does cranium prevent shock? See, think of the cranium as like, you know, a metal box inside which you are storing something. So what happens is that if I throw the box down, right, there is an impact which gets created. So when I throw it, it hits the floor with an impact. So that can create a shock. Now, it's important that the shock does not, the force that is there, it does not go inside, because if it goes inside, we know that it will damage whatever is there inside, which is why we have a strong bony casing that can absorb it, right? So this is very simple and easy. Now moving on to the next one, for which I gave you the answer already. Main function of motor neuron, everyone in the chat. You only tell me now. I've explained this to you. Main function of motor neuron. Ma'am, heredity evolution. So see, heredity evolution, you can check out the one-shot session, Arya. You'll find Ankita ma'am's one-shot session. And see, both Ankita ma'am and I have done questions on heredity numericals also. So you can make sure that you check those videos out as well. Ma'am, नहीं पता. अभी मैंने बताया आपको सेंसरी न्यूरॉन और मोटर न्यूरॉन के डिफरेंसेस में. Exactly, Dikshita. Very good. Yes. They transfer stimulus. Taruna, don't write they transfer stimulus, bacha. What do? They transfer impulse, right? So what is the role? The role is of the motor neuron is to transmit impulses from where to where? From CNS to effector. Right? Yes, they carry messages, but when you're writing function, no, you can't just tell that motor neuron carries impulse. That sensory neuron also does. So your answer is incomplete, right? So you need to make sure that you may be very clear about it, okay? All right. So motor neurons are responsible for transmitting impulses. Again, lot of things written, but simply write they are responsible for transmitting impulses from CNS to effector, right? This point needs to be there, very, very important. Ma'am, can we say impulses as messages? Yes, you can, or you can also say electric messages as well, right? Arya, I know I want to bring in heredity session, but the thing is, as per schedule, we might move chapter wise, so heredity might come the week after. It will not come next week, it will come probably the week after. We'll have how to organism, no? Yes. Ma'am, this writing is not understood. I know the writing looks a little tough, but no, I'll share you the PDF. You'll be able to see clearly. Now, everybody, moving on to question number 3. See, we are still at the third question, everyone. Now, this again has 3 subparts, okay? A, B, C. Came in 2018, okay? And everybody will get 1 mark each, okay? So first and foremost, there are 2 things you have to write here. Name the hormone which is secreted by the following endocrine glands and specify one function. So you need to write hormone plus function. What does thyroid do? Yes, very good. Thyroid is responsible for secreting thyroxine, right? What is the function? Very good. It regulates metabolism. Well done. So we know that thyroid gland is a butterfly-shaped gland which is located in our neck region, primarily secreting thyroxine, and this regulates the body's metabolic rate. So this is all you need to write. Thyroid gland secretes thyroxine, regulates metabolism of the body. You need to write only these 2 points. 1 mark, you will get half mark each. Keshav, I think you are new to the channel. My name is Aishwarya, mainly teaching you biology, also helping you out with some SST, right? Yes. Joel, I will tell you the difference between cranial and spinal nerves after I finish this question. Shall I finish this question and then give you the answer to that? Okay. Yes. Now moving on to the next one. You need to tell me about pituitary gland. Pituitary gland is a little tricky one. Because when you say hormones, right? Pituitary gland produces various hormones. Then you have to write function also. So tell me one hormone and its function. Very good, everybody. Very good. Pituitary gland is not producing insulin. For some of you who told me insulin, right? This secretes the growth hormone. Yes? And we know that in the case of growth hormone, what is the role? Yes, very good. What is the function of the growth hormone? Mariam, your chart is visible. I'm able to see. This also came in my pre-board. See, your friends are only telling you. It's coming in pre-boards. So now you know how important this class is, no? Helps in growth. Exactly. Helps in growth and elongation, right? So we know that it secretes growth hormone which helps in the elongation of bones. So this is the answer that you need to write. So what hormone? Growth hormone. What does it do? Growth of bones. We are clear with this, right? Very good. See, if you're writing ADH, FSH, and if you go ahead with all of that, no, what happens is that you'll have to then write down the function of ADH or FSH. So, but more than that, I will tell you it's very simple and easy to write about growth hormone, right? Unless and until it is specified. Now moving on to the next one. What is the role of pancreas? What is the role of pancreas, everybody? Very quickly. And what is the hormone which produces it? Exactly. So when we talk about hormones which are produced by pancreas, to be honest, there are two, no? There is insulin and there is glucagon. Very good. Now what are the functions? Now when you're writing the functions, if you're writing insulin, then you have to write that point, right? And if you're writing glucagon, you should write function of glucagon. No, secreting pancreatic juice is a function as a digestive gland. They are talking about role of pancreas as an endocrine gland. They regulate blood sugar level. Very good. So what does it do? Does it decrease the blood sugar level or does it increase the blood sugar level? What does insulin do? Does it decrease the blood sugar level or increase it? Increase or decrease? This is where all my students get confused, okay? That's why I'm asking. Ma'am, insulin does both? No, it doesn't do both. Very good. It decreases it, okay? It decreases the blood sugar level. While on the other hand, glucagon will increase it, right? So we know that insulin actually has two functions, I would say. So they help in the uptake of glucose by the cells and they convert excess glucose in the blood into glycogen that can be stored by the body, right? Which is why we say that insulin will decrease and glucagon will increase. Yes? So this is what you need to write. They secrete insulin and helps lower the blood sugar levels. So are we clear with this, everybody? Are we clear with the concept? Are we clear? See, I am taking my time. I am teaching you this slow and steady because I don't want you all to get confused, right? Ma'am, you are ignoring my answer. No, bacha, I am not ignoring you. I would have missed it. Okay. First and foremost, I am going to take two questions. Alright. So, first question, which I know most of you will be having a doubt, is the difference between spinal nerves and cranial nerves, right? So what is the difference between spinal nerves and cranial nerves? Now spinal nerves that are there are those which emerge from spinal cord, right? Or they are responsible for transmitting information from to and fro the spinal cord, okay? So between different parts of the body and spinal cord. While when we talk about cranial nerves, they emerge from the brain, right? So again, are responsible for transmitting information to and fro. Now very quickly everybody, is the cranial and spinal nerves part of CNS or PNS? Is this CNS or PNS? Very quickly in the chat, are they part of CNS or PNS? Quickly, CNS or PNS? Because again, most of you get confused here. All of you who are telling me central nervous system, half mark gone. Okay? Gone. Half mark is gone. It is part of the PNS. What makes up your CNS? CNS, that is your central nervous system, is made up of your brain and spinal cord. Not the nerves that are emerging from it. Write this down. Put a star mark somewhere. Very, very important. Brain and spinal cord makes up your CNS, central nervous system. While PNS is your peripheral nervous system that mainly includes the nerves that are there. Are we clear? Are we clear, everybody? Yes? I am good, Anand. I am very, very good. Yes? Okay, very good. I think you are asking me, Dikshita, not for ACH, right? It should be ACTH. Yes? It will not be ACH, but it will be ACTH, okay? And if it is ACTH, it says adrenocorticotropic hormones. So ACTH is adrenocorticotropic hormones. Alright, are we clear with this? Okay, next one I know is also 2 questions I'm going to take, after which we'll have a look at the questions, okay? Now we have reflex arc and reflex action. To be honest, I actually have some questions on this, but I will explain it to you now only. Reflex arc that is there is the route which is taken by the impulse. Alright, and we see that this is the shortest route which is taken by the impulse. From where to where? From, what do you say? It is taken from the receptor to the effector, right? So that is what is reflex arc. It is with respect to the route taken by the impulse. What is reflex action? It is the involuntary, spontaneous action. Right? So this is the action that we do. Moving our hands out, or maybe, batting of our eyelids. This is what we call as a reflex action. So here mainly it has to do with what we do, right? It could be, withdrawing our hands, withdrawing our hand while touching a hot surface. So everybody quickly take a screenshot of this and I'm going to go ahead with it. Okay, let me know when you take a screenshot. Yes. Ma'am, is phototropism and photonasty the same? No, it is not the same. Are we clear? Have you taken a screenshot? Yes. Ma'am, ACTH is not there in NCERT, but somebody asked me, so I explained it. That's all, okay. Have you taken the screenshot? Yes, okay, very good. Because after I move the screen, I will not be able to show it. Anirudh, I know you want me to explain nastic movements. Shall I do 2 more questions and explain it to you? Just give me 5 more minutes, right? 5 more minutes and I'll explain it to you. Okay. Yes, it is immediate action. Very good. Now moving on to the next one. 1 mark question. This has come way back in 2013, right? Which is the largest and prominent part of the brain. 1 mark for you for identifying this part. Ma'am, stimulus action and reflex action are the same? No. There could be a stimulus that causes a reflex action, but all stimuli are not reflex action, okay? Forebrain, in forebrain also, see, forebrain is made up of many parts. No, cerebrum is there. Then there is, hypothalamus, thalamus. In that they are asking which is the most prominent part. I am seeing cerebellum as an answer, which is not correct. But it is cerebrum, right? So we know that cerebrum is the largest and the most prominent part, right? And we know that cerebrum, see, terminologies you need to remember as seat of intelligence, right? Controls voluntary movement. So these are things that you need to remember. Yes. So 2 important points about cerebrum. So here, because it's 1 mark and they're only asking you to identify it, you just need to write 1 mark on this. Easy peasy. Okay. Now moving on to question number 5. I'll give you a 5-minute break after question number 10. Okay. Yes, exactly. Weighs about 80% of our brain. Now this is a 2-mark question which has come in 2019. Yes, Harika, I'll explain all this to you. So shall I do one thing? Shall I maybe finish 10 questions, give everybody else a break, and then I'll do a doubt board kind of section where I take the doubts. But first, let's solve these questions and then move to our doubts, okay? So everyone, I will take your doubts. I'll clarify all your doubts that by today, by the end of today's class, I want you all to feel confident about control coordination, right? So I will take all of your doubts. Don't feel like I'm ignoring you. Just stay with me till today's end of the class. I will clarify it, okay? Now moving on to question number 5. Yes. Why does the flow of signals in a synapse from axonal end of one neuron to dendritic end of the other neuron take place, but it never happens in the reverse direction? What is the reason? Can you tell me? 2 marks. And I am telling you the keyword is very simple. Ma'am, electric impulse generated at the synapse cannot be transferred back as an electric impulse. Okay. Axon take and dendrite take on. Okay. Because information is first acquired on the dendritic tip of neuron. Okay. You are all there. But I'll tell you one thing. Think a little along the lines of how it is there. Ma'am, because valve is present. Bacha, valve is not present here. Okay, there is no valve. Ma'am, because there is need. Yes, ma'am, this is a tricky question. To be honest, it's very easy only, right? See, now the main thing, you all gave me the answer. But there is one point that you have to write. How are neurons arranged inside, right? How are neurons arranged in the body? Neurons are always arranged one after the other. They are not arranged end to end, right? It's not like some neurons are like this and some neurons are like this. No, all neurons are arranged one after the other. So we know that because of the arrangement of neurons, wherein we always know that the dendritic end will receive the impulse, right? So we know that the dendritic end, so let's assume this is neuron 1 and this is neuron 2. And all neurons are arranged one after the other. So we know that the dendrites are the ones which receive the impulse and then they go here, right? And then we know that there is a synapse where of course there is a neurotransmitter through which the neurotransmitter will go past this synapse and reach the next dendrite and then it will pass. Now transmission of impulse is always unidirectional, which happens from dendrite to axon. It cannot happen in reverse because of the fact that it's not possible, and secondly because of its arrangement. Right? Yes, receptors are present only in the dendritic end, right? So we know that flow of neurons takes place, or flow of signals through neurons takes place in the form of specialized chemicals called neurotransmitters. And the thing about neurotransmitters is that these neurotransmitters are found only in the axonal end, right? So the axonal end is where the neurotransmitters are found. So if you want the impulse to go, it has to be from axon to dendrite. It will not happen in the other way because dendrite will not produce neurotransmitters, right? So that is something that you need to know. So we know that it can only enter a neuron through dedicated receptor channels, and we know that it is released by the axonal end and received by the dendrite. And that's why the neurons are arranged one after the other for the unidirectional flow. So that is something that you need to know, right? What are hormones? Are chemical substances which are released by endocrine glands, right? So hormones are released by endocrine glands which carry chemical messengers which are responsible for growth and regulating various activities on a regular basis. Neurotransmitters are chemicals which are released by neurons that help in transmission of impulse. Ma'am, so since dendrites do not have neurotransmitters, it is unidirectional. Exactly, dendrites have the ability. So if we've learned about receptors, no, these dendrites have the receptors on which the neurotransmitter will come and sit. But they themselves cannot release or produce something, right? Yes. Ma'am, what is hypothalamus? Hypothalamus is a part which is present in your forebrain that is responsible for regulating body temperature, pain, right? And it's also responsible for regulating hunger as well, right? Ma'am, was life process PYQ done? Yes, it was done by Ankita ma'am last week itself. You can find it out in the channel. Which gland is known as mixed gland? Pancreas. Santosh, I'm not ignoring your chats. I would have missed it, bacha, that's all. Ma'am, should we write 3 points to get 2 marks? So I have split it into 3 points, but if you want to club it and write it in 2 points also, you will get it. But nonetheless, I have given you a very elaborate answer. You can make it as crisp also. So 2 marks. So here I have a concluding statement. That is why. Hi KS, I hope I think you're new to my class. Welcome everybody, welcome. Yes. What is dwarfism? Now, dwarfism is a condition where there is insufficient production of growth hormone, resulting in stunted growth, right? Very easy. Now, we are going to move on to another very interesting question where reflex arc continue to be more efficient for quick responses. Justify this statement. Can you tell me what is this? Ma'am, which gland is master gland? Pituitary gland is the master gland, Harika. Ma'am, can I score 99? Pakka, you can score 99, right? You will be able to score it. Ma'am, what has happened is Tuba, very deep one. Very deep, very deep. But before all that, everybody, before getting digressed with this, no? Quickly, everyone, give me the answer to this. This is not an easy question. Reflex are continue to be more efficient for quicker responses. You need to justify this statement. Everybody in the chat, I need you to tell me the answer to this. Or are we all thinking? What is happening? Thank you, Naman. Very sweet. It is continuous and quick, okay? Because it was done by chemical messages, fine. Yes, what else? Because it's controlled by spinal cord, okay. What else? What else? Ma'am, don't know. It's okay. I'm so happy that you're very honest with me. When you don't know, you're like, ma'am, I don't know. Yes. What else? Ma'am, reflex arc only includes spinal cord, which gives a faster response than the normal thinking process, and it has to where it has to reach the brain? Question mark. Be more confident with your answers, bacha. Okay. Yes. All right. So more or less, you guys have got the answer. Okay. You've got a rough idea. See, they're just asking you, why is reflex arc, what do you say, more efficient, or why is it that reflex arc continue to be more efficient or continue to be faster? So for that, you need to know a little bit of it, right? So we know what is a reflex arc, right? So we know that reflex arc is nothing but the shortest route which is taken by the impulse from receptor to the effector, right? And we know that sometimes there are certain stimuli which can be dangerous. So imagine if I am touching something very hot, right? So we know that if I touch something very hot, it can affect my body, it can damage parts of my body, which is why we know that the reflex action or the reflex arc needs to take the shortest route so that I can immediately withdraw my hand and I can take care of it, right? It does not affect me. So we know that in higher animals especially, the reflex arc has been evolved, or it is advanced in such a way that it can give quick responses. Yes, and this will reduce the chances of damage to the body, and it will also prevent overloading of the brain, right? So normally we know that especially for reflexes which are neck below, we know that the spinal cord is the shortest route, which is why we know that both the brain and the spinal cord are involved in the action of the reflexes, where the shortest route is taken to minimize the consequence of that action, right? So I hope now we are clear with this. For those of you who told me, ma'am, I don't know what to do, just need to think about what will happen if the reflex action does not take place, right? That is all something that you need to do. Ma'am, does it have only 3 neurons? No. The 3 type of neurons which are involved are, of course, it is sensory neuron, relay neuron and motor neuron. But it will not just be these 3. Nilesh, ask me questions which are related to control coordination. I will give you the answer to it. Stop spamming in the chat. Ma'am, efferent neuron kya hota hai? Nothing but your motor neuron. So afferent and efferent are other ways of referring to it, right? मैम एक बार फिर से बता दो, जरूर मैं बताऊंगी आपको. See, what is reflex action? Reflex action is nothing but, or a reflex arc is nothing but the shortest route which is taken by the impulse from receptor to effector. And why are we having a reflex arc in the first place? In response to a reflex action. No? Now let's take an example. Now imagine if I am somebody, I have gone and I've touched a hot iron, right? If I've touched a hot iron, then I know that, that hot iron can damage my body, right? It's heat, it can damage my body. Which is why I cannot take too much time thinking whether, is it going to damage my body? Is it going to be fine? Which is why reflex actions or reflex arc are very quick, where the impulse is quickly sent to the spinal cord and the message comes back to my hand telling me to withdraw. So thereby it minimizes my damage, or it minimizes the damage to the body, right? So it minimizes the damage to the body and protects ourselves, right? So are we clear with this, everybody? Are we clear? Ma'am, I got this question in my pre-board today. Exactly. Now all of you understand. See, your friends are telling in the chat only that they're getting these kind of questions. So you know, right, that we at BYJU'S, we're picking top-notch questions, and chances are that these kind of questions can come in your board exam also. So be very careful. Ma'am, so for example, if hand is paralyzed, okay, the chat went by. So ma'am, if hand is paralyzed, will any reflex action take place? See, paralysis can happen due to multiple reasons, right? But imagine if the body is not able to sense or sensation is lost on one side, then if we are not able to feel it, if we are not able to perceive the stimuli, then the action in itself will not make sense, right? So most often than not, we will not be able to do. Okay. Ma'am, adrenal hormone is also known as stress hormone, also known as adrenaline is also known as epinephrine, right? Ma'am, does spinal cord act as a temporary brain for reflex action? You can say, like, because it's making the decision, right? So you can say that it acts as a temporary decision-making center. But you should not tell that, ma'am, brain is not involved in spinal cord. As students of biology, you should know that brain is also involved in reflexes. Just that because it needs a faster response, brain will be made aware that, hey, you know what? Spinal cord is like, hey, you know what? I'm making this decision, okay? I'm just letting you know. Kind of like that. Ma'am, stimulus is taking shorter distance while going to spinal cord. See, not necessarily. If you think about reflexes of the body, neck below, it goes to spinal cord because shorter distance, right? But if it is your eye and all, right, reflexes of the eye. Imagine if some, dust goes inside your eyes. What will you do? You tell me. Some dust has gone inside your eyes. What will you do? Quickly, what is the reflex action that you see? In the chat, everybody, what is a reflex action you will see when there is dust that goes? Ma'am, can we say stimuli instead of receptors? You can, not wrong, but preferably I'll say receptor because that's where your impulse starts, no? That's why I make it easy. Yes. Yes. Watery eyes, blinking, tears will be released. All of this is controlled by the brain. Because the shortest distance from eye, reflexes of the eye is to the brain, no? It's not to spinal cord. So it is not key that only spinal cord will do it. Brain will also do. Okay? Alright everyone, so with this I hope we are clear. I know that I took a lot of time. Nitish, I have missed your question, bacha. Which hormone is called emergency hormone? It is also, it is nothing but your adrenaline. Yes. Ma'am, what are neurotransmitters? Neurotransmitters are nothing but those which are chemicals, right? So they are chemicals released from the axonal end, right? So they're released from the axonal end of neuron, right? And then they pass on the information from the axonal end to the dendritic. So they are responsible for transmitting it from axonal end of one neuron to the dendritic end, right? So they are responsible for the transmission of impulse. That is what we call as neurotransmitters. So I hope now we are clear. Now moving on to question number 7, you have 2 marks for this. Define reflex arc. I have written down the reflex arc definition 3 times already, so you have to be telling me the answer to this, okay? Yes, very good. Ma'am, cerebellum controls voluntary or involuntary. Cerebellum is responsible for muscular coordination, mainly. Ma'am, what is the name? There is no name of neurotransmitter. There are types of neurotransmitter, out of which one is your acetylcholine, okay? That is one. Pathway, I will tell you. Yes. All of you have so many questions. I can see a lot of questions are there, but nonetheless, after the 10th question, like I told you, no, you bombard me with questions, I will give you the answer. But first, that's when our friends, other friends will take a break, okay? But till then, everyone, you give me the answer to this. Shortest route taken from by the impulse from receptor to effector. Very good, very good. Yes. So the shortest route. If you write only pathway of reflex action, I'll cut half mark from you. Okay. I will cut half mark. Because I'll tell you why. Shortest route is your keyword. So if the word shortest route, shortest pathway is not there, I am cutting half mark for you there only, because that's my keyword. So taken from nerve impulse in a reflex action, from where to where? From receptor to CNS and back, right? So we know that a receptor organ, so here the receptor could be a sense organ, effector could be muscles or glands, right? So reflex arc may, if half mark is missing, if shortest pathway is not there, half mark is gone in your definition. I will tell you now only. Very good. Yes, Avni, very good. Now moving on to the second one. Some of you are asking me, ma'am, flow chart for reflex action. I'm going to write it now. Trace the sequence of events in which our body, which occur in our body when bright light is focused in your eyes. Yes. Ma'am, do we have to draw reflex arc? No, until and unless they specify that you have to draw reflex arc, you don't need to draw it, okay? Diagram may, if they write and tell you, this is what you have to draw, then only. Trace the sequence of events. Now they've given you a condition, when bright light is focused. Yeah, so you know that accommodation of light or light adaptation, dark adaptation, you would have learned it in a different chapter, that is human eye and the colorful world. We've learned about this, no, in that chapter. Saurabh sir would have taken it for you. So you would have learned about how our lenses adjust themselves to accommodate how much light enter. Yes, we've learned about this there, no? Exactly. So use that as a reference to chart out what will happen during a reflex action. Very simple. So we're talking about when bright light is focused on your eyes. What is going to happen? I will tell you, everybody, all your doubts I will try my best to clarify. But quickly, everyone. Yes, iris controls the pupil movement. Yes, size of pupil will reduce. Brain. Okay. All of you have given me the answer. But it's very simple here. So what is it? We know that when bright light is focused on the eye, the stimulus here is nothing but the light. And the receptors in the eye, which is the photoreceptors, right? So we know that the photoreceptors that are there will perceive it. It will send a message through the sensory neuron to the brain. And then, of course, the motor neuron will pass it to the eye muscles, right? And as a result, we know that constriction of pupils will happen. So the pupils will reduce in size so that little amount of light only will enter. Right? So this is how you need to make the flow chart of it. So this is the flow chart for reflex action. Are we clear with this? Are we clear, everybody? Are we clear? Ma'am, how ma'am brain and reflex arc? This is what I've been telling for a very long time. Reflex arc does not mean that only spinal cord is involved, okay? It is the central nervous system. Now, it so happens that for neck below, or to be honest, from neck region onwards, the shortest route is to the spinal cord, which is why most reflex actions are controlled by the spinal cord. But reflexes of the face are regulated by the brain, right? Which is why the answer here, or it will go to the brain specifically. And of course, make sure that you do this, right? Write it down in greater detail. You will get 2 marks for tracing it. Ma'am, adrenal hormone or any other hormone, the adrenal gland secretes. It secretes cortisol also, right? Yes, very good. Ma'am, how does motor neuron work? Motor neuron will go from, it will transmit impulse from where to where? From your central nervous system, it will take information to the muscle or the gland. I know, see, everybody is telling me, ma'am, this question has come in my exam. Like I tell you, right, whatever I'm discussing today are very, very super important questions. So you know how important today's class is. Throughout today's class, a lot of you have told me, ma'am, questions have come and now you know why they are important, right? Somatotropin is pituitary gland. Yes? It should be pituitary gland. Moving on, okay, I'll just confirm it. I'll just confirm once again, Harika. I'll confirm this, okay? Because I'm not able to recall at the minute, but I'll tell you. Just give me 5 minutes. Now coming back, question number 8, after which after 3 more questions, 10 minutes break. Okay? State the function of the following plant hormones. 3 marks. It's come in CBSE 2019. Function of gibberellin, function of auxin, function of abscisic acid. 1 mark each. Okay? Yes, very good. Testosterone, development of sex organ, development of secondary sexual characters in males, Nilesh. Auxin is cell elongation, very good. What about gibberellins? What is the role of gibberellins? Growth of stem or elongation of stem, very good. ABA, what is the role of ABA? Yes, breaking seed dormancy is also good, promoting seed germination, that is also correct. Yes, very good. Now, those are other pointers you can write about. Last one, abscisic acid, which is also known as the stress hormone in plants, right? It's also known as the stress hormone. Very good. It improves, causes wilting of leaves, inhibits growth. Very good. Very good. So, for auxins, main pointers to remember is cell elongation. If you want to write one more, you can talk about how it promotes apical dominance. What about gibberellins? Help in stem elongation, break seed dormancy. And in the case of abscisic acid, being a stress hormone, it induces dormancy in buds and of course accelerates aging. Right? So these are the 3 points you need to write. Properly write it, 1 mark each. Totally you will get 3 marks. Very simple and easy question. And plant hormones, trust me, mainly they will ask you with respect to functions only. Okay? So everybody make sure you learn plant hormones and their functions very carefully. Now moving on to the very easy. But surprisingly, these are one among the few questions that will come from brain. Okay? Ma'am, auxin and gibberellin are nonetheless the same. No, they are not. Gibberellins are responsible for elongation of stem. This is cell elongation. Difference between cell growing this way, the stem growing this way and the cell elongating this way. Auxin and gibberellin work toward this happening. That is there. They work together. But they're not the same, you can say. 3 major regions. What is it? 3 major regions. I'll explain luteinizing hormone. Don't worry. Just give me 5 minutes, bacha. I'll explain it to you. Okay. Now I'm seeing some of you telling me, ma'am, forebrain. I can see a lot of answers. They're asking 3 major regions of the brain. It is for 3 marks. That means you start off by writing the 3 major regions of the brain is forebrain. Then we have midbrain. And then we have hindbrain. Okay. Then in this you write what is what. In forebrain we have cerebrum, hypothalamus and thalamus, right? So we have this. Now midbrain is a small portion. Now hindbrain has pons, it has cerebellum, and then of course you have medulla oblongata as well, right? So these are the important pointers. Now you need to write functions, yes? So when we talk about functions of forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain, so forebrain, when we talk about the cerebrum, we know that cerebrum is responsible for regulating thinking, seat of intelligence, regulating voluntary actions. Now when we talk about hypothalamus, we know that it's responsible for regulating temperature, and thalamus acts as a relay point. Now your midbrain mainly controls the reflexes of the eye, right? And it controls various other reflexes. Now when we talk about hindbrain, we know that cerebellum is necessary for body posture and body balance. Now when we talk about pons, we know that it regulates the functioning of, some of you are asking me, ma'am, what's the functioning of pons? Pons is responsible for regulating the actions of the respiratory system and breathing. Then of course we have the medulla, which controls certain involuntary actions like, swallowing, blood pressure and so on. So this is something that you will have to elaborate and write. So this is forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. So you will have to mention the functions one by one. So for hindbrain, pons, cerebellum, and for medulla oblongata, you will have to specify the functions. Then only 3 marks you will get here. Okay? If you want, everybody, take a quick screenshot. Okay. Are we clear? Are we clear? Yes? Yes, Avni, ma'am, artificial oxen. Artificial oxen, I think, is IA, indole acetic acid. Yes? Ma'am, pia matter is a part of the meninges, okay? So, pia matter is part of the meninges. It is the innermost one, alright? And we know that it is the innermost layer of the meninges that is there. Yes? Are we clear now? Very simple, easy question. This is another very easy one. State one example of chemotropism. 1 mark for this question. State one example of chemotropism. Quickly, everybody. Yes, fertilization will not technically be a correct answer, but very good. Chemotropism is nothing but the growth which is in response to chemicals, right? And we know that the growth of the pollen tube towards the embryo sac is an example of the same, right? So when you're writing about it, we can talk about how growth of pollen tube towards the ovule is due to a chemical stimulus. For during the process of fertilization, I'll not say that, but rather you can omit this part, okay? So you can just say that due to chemical stimulus is an example of chemotropism. Very simple and easy, right? So before I go ahead, everybody, here's a quick reminder. I think we are done with 10 questions. Oh, this was the 10th question, right? So everyone, before we go ahead for a break time, here's a quick reminder for all of you, right? Some of you are asking me, ma'am, you're so comfortable with English. How is this possible? Of course, this happens with a lot of practice. So we have a 2 months confident speaking English program where if you feel like you are somebody who struggles with English and you want to learn it at your own pace, or you know that your brothers and sisters are maybe struggling with it, or your friends, whoever it may be, let them know that this something is available, right? And of course, we have Cambridge certified teachers who will help you out where you will learn at your own pace, okay? So very quickly, everybody, please make sure that if you want to recommend it to your friends, you can definitely recommend it, right? Okay. Now, I know all of you are saying, ma'am, no break, ma'am, break. I know this, but I will give you a 5-minute break simply because it's a lot that we are studying, okay? Lots and lots that we are studying. So take 5 minutes. I will not giving you too long 15-20 minute break. 5 minutes paid, drink some water, stretch out a little. Then I will do a doubt board and then I will go ahead and answer your questions, okay? After this, I'm going to be doing a doubt board and then I will go ahead with the questions. So take 5 minutes, everybody, and then we will come back with a lot more energy and josh. 5 minutes break. We'll start at 8:20 again. we took a good 5-minute break, right? So are we feeling energized? Are we feeling excited? Okay, amazing. Yes, yes. Come on, let's bring that Josh back, right? So now, let's stretch it out. Let's, stretch our hands. Good to go, right? Okay. Now, I also understood that in that break time, I told something which was wrong. Some of you asked me, ma'am, what is an example? I think Avni asked me, ma'am, synthetic oxen and natural oxen. I actually interchanged it, right? So, IAA that I told you, which is indole acetic acid. So, indole acetic acid that is there, it is a natural oxen, okay? While on the other hand, if you talk about NAA, we know that NAA is, I think, naphthalene acetic acid that is there, which is a synthetic oxen. I'm not able to remember the full form, but this is a synthetic oxen. I interchanged this, so I'm sorry about that, okay? Yes. Anybody else who have doubts? So quickly I'm going to do a doubt board for 5 minutes and then I'm going to go ahead to the next one. Okay, what is a synapse, right? So we know that a synapse is nothing but a fine gap which is present between the axonal end, right? Or which is present between the axonal end of one neuron and the dendritic end of the other, right? Okay. Ma'am, could you explain nastic movements? See, nastic movements are, I would say, movements that we observe in plants which are non-growth related, okay? So, they are non-growth related and their direction does not matter, alright? And in this case, if you see, right? When we talk about nastic movements, we see that they are stimulus, but the direction of the stimulus also doesn't matter, right? So if you take this case, yes, so if you take touch me not plant, no? If you come and if you touch it, they will close only in one direction. You touch it from here, you touch it from here, you touch it from here, or you touch it from here, the direction is the same, right? So this is very simple. That is what we understand as nastic movement. Now, Trupti, I know thymus is not part that is there. No, it is not part of, what do you say, your NCERT syllabus. But nonetheless, thymus is also a gland that you see which mainly produce your T cells. Okay. So they produce certain enzymes that trigger the production of T cells. Ma'am, Menti, Soumya, no Menti today. It is mainly PYQ, right? Yes, Veena, I am happy that you studied everything from our channel and you found it easy. Developed brain weight. I'm assuming about 2 to 3 kgs. I'm not sure about the answer, Santosh. I'm not able to place the answer. You can check it out online. You can just search for it. Ma'am, what is turgor? I think the spelling that you've given me is wrong, but turgor is nothing but when the condition of the cell is swollen. That is what we mean by it. Ma'am, how to complete syllabus? Check out Ankita Ma'am and Harsh Ma'am's video. You will be able to go. Example of hydrotropism is the growth of the root, right? So we know that when we talk about growth of roots, when there is water. So imagine there is water here and the roots are growing. We know that the roots will bend towards the direction, right? So that is something. Ma'am, which video? There is a timetable video which Ankita Ma'am and Harsh Ma'am did very recently, Karan. You will be able to find that out. Ma'am, is reflex action controlled both by spinal cord or both brain and spinal cord? See, you guys are getting confused a little. If this is a person, okay, all the reflexes of the face is controlled by the brain or the decision is taken by the brain. All this which is neck below is by spinal cord. But the thing is, when spinal cord is making a decision, no, it will also tell the brain, hey, you know what, I'm doing this. So that is something which is important. Biome, which chapter is important? All are important, but life processes, control coordination, heredity is necessary. Closing of stomata is abscisic acid. Now moving on to question number 11, right? Question number 11, everybody. What is meant by tropic movement? 1 mark, you have to write definition. Difference between tropic and nastic, I actually have a question on that. So shall I tell you what is that? Okay. Of NCERT. I think NCERT is talking about growth hormone only. That is what they say. Yes, all right. What is meant by tropic movements, everyone? Quickly. Yes. Heredity numericals I have done on the channel. Ankita Ma'am has done. You can check that out. I've explained it as well. Quickly everybody. Okay, it is related to growth. Very good. What else? It is related to growth. Then what? What is related to growth? This is very vague answer for me. If you tell me related to growth, then I'll be like half mark. That's it. Direction, okay. Direction, half mark. That's it. Response to stimuli. Evolution is not coming, bacha. It's not there. Auxin, okay. Natural factors. All right. Lot of random. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. Ma'am, plant hormones. We will discuss more anyway. See, what are tropic movements? First and foremost, you should say, yes, Ananya. Movement of a plant. Tell where. Movement, that, this. Making it very vague. Okay, this is where you might lose marks on your subjective answer. Right? So, you'll have to write about tropic movements are directional movements observed in plants in response to an external stimuli. And we see that these movements are growth related. Write these three keywords. Yes, very, very important. Okay, keywords are directional. I've written something else for movement. So they are directional movement observed in plants in response to external stimuli. 1 mark here, making sure that movements are regulated. And you can write some examples of the same as well. Ma'am, repeat kar do. Tropic movements वो होते हैं जो directional movements होते हैं जो हम plants में observe करते हैं, right? This is in response to an external stimuli, and we see that this movement are growth related. So you need to write all of these pointers. What is directional? Growth related, seen in plants, right? These things you have to write. Okay? Yes, I will take all the other doubts in just a bit. Yes? Moving on. State the 2 types of movements we see in plants and give 1 example of each type. Lot of you are asking me to do this, which is why this is your key. 2 types of movements we see in plants in the chat very quickly. What are the 2 types? 2 marks you will get, and it's a differentiate kind of question. Yes, you see tropical movement, or will you say tropic? Ninganga, Patil, I'm sorry, I'm only able to call you by your surname. Will you say tropical or tropic? I can see some of you saying, ma'am, phototropism and hydrotropism. That will be incorrect. Phototropism, geotropism all come under the category of tropic movements, right? Not, okay. Will you write trophic, option A, or will you write tropic, option B? What will you write, option A or option B? Trophic or tropic? Are the same, you guess, ma'am. Okay. Ma'am, physics is the best. Okay, everybody has their own preference. You will not write trophic. See, you learned in our environment chapter, we have learnt about how we have the food chain, right? And we know that there are trophic levels in that. So this trophic could be with respect to trophic levels. So do not write trophic, okay? But rather write about tropic movements and nastic movements. Yes? Now when you talk about tropic, we know that it is growth dependent, it is, there's a specific direction oriented, and it is in response to a specific stimuli. Now, nastic movements are not dependent on growth, okay? And we see that these are non-directional responses, and of course, again, it is in response to a stimuli, right? So, again, example you can give here is folding of leaves in mimosa and growth of, the shoot towards the light. That is another example you can write. So, are we clear with this? Lot of you are asking me, ma'am, can you differentiate between tropic and nastic movement? So, are we clear? Yes? Will you give me a thumbs up? Chat is very quiet, so I will not know if you understood or no. Yes, very good. Yes. Folding of leaf is example of tropic movements. No. Folding of leaves in mimosa plant is an example of nastic movement. Okay. Because I told you, no, if I touch it from here, I touch it from here, I touch it from here, the direction doesn't matter. Ma'am, is heredity evolution coming for boards? It is coming for boards, but only heredity part of it is coming. Evolution is not coming. Okay. Yes. Ma'am, bio ka copy bhi nahi padhaya. Okay, no problem. You can study from our channel, okay? So in our channel, we have everything for you. You can study, read NCERT, make notes from our channel. I'm telling you, it's going to be easy. Ma'am, my answer is right. See, if you're writing only about tropism, when you're writing, see, my point here is, if you write only about phototropism and geotropism, they technically are, they're saying two types of movements seen in plants. But you see that you see more tropic movements. It's not restricted to photo and hydro or photo and geo, right? Which is why you have to write tropic and nastic, right? What is nastic movement? Nastic movements are those movements which are independent of growth, right? We know that these movements are not growth related. It will not result in growth of root or shoot. They are just movements you see in plants, right? So sometimes you've seen, how in the daylight the flowers will be bloomed, but in the night it will become small. So those are all movements we see. And they are not growth related, but they are growth independent, right? And here we see that it's not in response to any direction. So in the touch me not plant, that's what I was telling. I'll touch the leaf from here, or I'll touch from here, or I'll touch from here, or I'll touch from here. Nonetheless, the movement is the same. What will the leaf do? The leaf will close, right? So that is something you need to understand, right? So that's why we have these two examples. So are we clear with this? Are we clear? Now I'll do one thing. We're moving on to question number 13. After question number 15, I'll keep one more doubt board slide where you can ask me all of your doubts. Harika, I will be doing luteinizing hormone bacha explanation there. Okay? Yes. All right. Okay, Arya, you can let me know in the comment section as well, so that our team can try to schedule it this week, next upcoming week itself. Ma'am, class ka time kya hai? Har din 7 o'clock we start, right? So we do it every day at 7 p.m. for class 10, and 5 p.m. slots are also there for class 10. Now moving on to question number 13. Define geotropism and draw a label diagram of a plant showing geotropic parts. Yes? It's not there. Luteinizing hormone ka there's not much. It's just that I think Harika wants to know, so I'm doing this part. Okay? Everyone, quickly. Movement towards gravity. Very good. Ishika, I am already in question number 13. I finished 12 questions already, but you can be there. Yes. Roots. Very good. Very good. Exactly. So what is geotropism? Geotropism refers to the movement, right? So if I were to define it, it is the movement of the parts of the plant, right? So movement of the plant in response, okay? So in response to gravity. So we see that in the case of roots, it grows towards it, right? While in the case of shoot, it grows away, right? Or you can say that it grows in the opposite direction. Very good. Yes. We know that roots that are there, they show positive geotropism, while in the case of shoot, they show negative geotropism. And all you need to do is to draw an image, right? So very simply, there are two ways of drawing this. So what you can do is you can draw a plant. So you can write down the definition that is there, right? What is geotropism? And you can talk about which parts of the plant exhibit positive and negative geotropism. And you can simply draw a plant, okay? What I would always recommend is that you can draw a plant. Now I'm drawing it very roughly, right? Yes. So you can draw a plant like this, and you can draw an arrow which says gravity, right? And here you can mark this and say this is positively geotrophic. and you can draw upwards and you can say this is negatively geotropic. So this indicates this, this would indicate it, right? So are we clear, everybody? Are we clear with the question? Yes, I remember you. I remember all of my students. Yes, all right. Ma'am, where is cytokinin hormone present? Normally synthesized by the shoot system, right? It's normally synthesized there, and I'll be telling you more about it anyway, so don't worry. All right. Now, what are plant hormones? Name the plant hormones which are responsible for growth of stem, promotion of cell division, inhibition of growth, or elongation of cells. Yes? So, everybody, quickly. You have 4 marks for this question. 1 mark for definition, right? And the remaining marks are going to be split amongst here. Quickly, everybody, what do we mean by plant hormones? Do not get digressed in the chat, everybody. Please be careful. What are plant hormones? First, you tell me that. Or what are phytohormones? Some of you are asking me about this also. So, what are phytohormones? Yes, everyone, quickly in the chat. Okay, everybody is giving me the answer to the second part of it. You do know that you will only get 3 marks here. No, your 1 mark is to tell you what are plant hormones. Plant growth regulators. Very good, Neha. Ma'am, both are the same. Okay. Nivas, Komal, Soumya, stop having unnecessary conversations in the chat. Okay. Anyway. Plant hormones are nothing but chemical messengers which are produced by the plants, right? And they are responsible for carrying out control and coordination in plants, yes? And we know that their site of production is different and their action is different, yes? Very good, Abhishek. They are chemicals, compounds or chemical messengers which are present in very low concentrations. Yes, very good. So now going back, we are talking about the hormones which are responsible for growth of stem. So we know that growth of stem here is gibberellins, right? Promotion of cell division is cytokinins. Yes, inhibition of growth is ABA, like how all of you have told me. And elongation of cell is auxin. Very good. So when you talk about it, we see that cytokinins are produced by the shoot and root tips, right? And if you talk about gibberellins, they are produced by the meristematic cells found in the apical buds and in the roots. Now some of you are asking me, ma'am, where is cytokinin present? Cytokinin is produced in the roots of the plant, right? I told you it's the shoot. My bad, it is produced in the roots and then it is transported to the upper parts, right? And here are the functions. Similarly, we also have ethylene, which is a gaseous hormone, and we have ABA. So when you are writing the answer, make sure that you write it in the format and then only you are going to get 4 marks. Otherwise, I am telling you, you will not get your complete marks. So be very, very careful. Start with the definition and write this down. Yes? Ma'am, where will we get the PDF? You will get the PDF that is there in the Telegram channel. Ma'am, can you name natural auxin? Actually, Avni, that is what I was telling you in the beginning. IAA, the indole acetic acid that I told you, which was a synthetic auxin, is actually a natural auxin. Okay? NAA is a synthetic one. Okay? Yes, all right. Are we clear? Are we clear with this, everybody? Do you want to take a screenshot of this? Do you all want to take a screenshot? Yes. Take a screenshot of this very quickly. Take this. This is very, very important for plant hormones, okay? Take a screenshot. And everybody, in the meanwhile, I hope all of you have liked this video. Have you all liked it? We want to hit 100 likes today. So, jaldi, make sure that you like this video. Do not forget to like. Take a screenshot of this slide as well. Yes, everyone, quickly hit that like button. Don't forget to like it. Yes, all right. Okay. Now this is also an important answer. I'll share this with you on Telegram, so don't worry about it. After question number 15, see, last questions, we can wind it up in the next 20 minutes. By 9 o'clock, we'll be done. And I told you in the beginning of the session only, 2 hours pay, I will wind this up. I will clarify all of your doubts, right? So after question number 15, we'll take a small break and I'll take a doubt clearing section and then we'll move on to the last 5. Last 5, I'm telling you, you will be able to answer very easily. Now define phototropism and name the plant hormone which is responsible for phototropism, right? 2-mark question. 1 mark for definition, 1 mark for naming the hormone. So quickly everybody, can you tell me? Very good. Yes, now you have got the knack of answering the question. You're now telling me properly in the answer. It is a tropic movement or it is a movement in response to light. Very good. Yes. Which is the hormone? Which exactly is the hormone? Can you tell me? Yes, very good. It is auxin. So we know that it is the growth movement or the growth dependent movement in response to light, and the hormone which is involved here is auxin. And we know that auxin is sensitive to light, so it accumulates in the opposite direction, resulting in the bending, right? So here you need to write these 2 things. Starting with the definition of what is phototropism, which is nothing but the movement in response to light, and you can specify shoots show positive phototropism and roots show negative phototropism. Then you can talk about how auxin is the hormone which is responsible for this. You write these 2 things, you are going to get 2 marks, okay? Are we clear with the question? Are we all clear? Ma'am, weightage of this chapter. See, across science chapters when you think about it, right? And if you look at your sample paper analysis, most likely good amount of at least 8-10 marks will come from this chapter. Now, before I go ahead, okay, I want to do a quick doubt board section for all of you. Lot of you have asking me doubts, so very quickly everybody, what other doubts do you have so far? Ma'am, when a plant moves in response to light, is called as phototropism? Yes, you can define it that way. It's not when a plant, right? Okay, so what is autonomic nervous system, right? So autonomic nervous system that is there is a part of your PNS, right? And we know that in the case of your autonomic nervous system, it mainly regulates, or the nerves are responsible for regulating certain actions of the body, right? So here mainly if you talk about it, we know that, it's responsible for regulating some of the involuntary actions that are there, right? So that is what is autonomic nervous system. Ma'am, is tendril movement thigmotropism? Yes, Bishal, it is thigmotropism. Okay. Ma'am, 3rd law of Mendel. Everybody, please restrict your doubts to control coordination. Ma'am, how is leaf sensitive from move? Leaves of sensitive plant differ from shoot. See, in the case of leaves, again, this is touch me not and this is a normal plant, right? So in this case, when you look at touch me not plant, we know that I can touch this from any direction, but the movement is the same, right? So my stimulus is coming from any direction. Okay, remember this. Stimulus is coming from any direction, but the response is the same. That means closing is going to be the action. So direction of stimulus does not matter. But on the other hand, when you look at it, right, when you look at growth of shoot, right, and let's assume that it is growth of shoot, sorry about that, in response to sunlight, then we know that it is growing in this direction. So here the direction of stimulus matters, and that is how a touch me not leaf and growth is different. Okay, all right. Ma'am, what is cerebrospinal fluid? So cerebrospinal fluid or CSF is a fluid which is found between the brain, right? So between the meninges of the brain, and we know that it's also found protecting the spinal cord, and their main function is 2 things. So it acts as a shock absorber, right? So it acts as a shock absorber and provides protection. Yes. And on the other hand, we also see that it also provides certain important nutrients to the brain. Okay. All right. Ma'am, how does process of water affect the wilting of leaves? Very interesting question. See, when you talk about it, right, why do leaves wilt? So when you say a leaf has wilted, this mostly happens when the cells in this region, right, they become flaccid. Now, what do we mean by flaccid? Flaccidity, turgidity, these are all terms that we have learned in 9th standard when we learnt about, how there is osmosis, right? So what happens here is that when there is a stimulus, water will move out, okay? Water keeps moving out of the cells, and as a result, the cell will shrink, okay? Now, when the cell shrinks, we see that it will result in wilting of leaves, which is why we know that movement of water is essential. Even opening and closing of stomata also matters in that, right? Exactly, osmotic pressure is there. Very good. Okay. Now, let's move on, okay? Ma'am, luteinizing hormone. Yes. See, luteinizing hormone or LH, I think is a little beyond NCERT, but nonetheless, it has an effect on males and females. So, in males, it also controls the production and the ovulation process. This has a main role to play. In males, if you see, they result in the production, or it regulates the functioning of certain androgens, which are some other chemicals which are produced in the body. Okay, ma'am, what is adrenal gland? Adrenal gland is a cup, is like a structure which is found on top of the kidneys, which is responsible for secreting adrenaline. Yes. So sympathetic and parasympathetic again play a key role in regulating your actions when you have, in response to stress, right? So imagine if you are facing a very stressful situation, your blood rate, your heart rate increases, or, you are feeling very nervous. In those cases, your sympathetic nervous system comes into the picture. Phytohormones, I have just explained, bacha, you can go ahead and see that, right? I'm just talking about what all I have not explained, I am picking up those questions. Pons is responsible for regulating the mechanism of breathing, right? So mainly it plays a main role in regulating the mechanism of breathing. Ma'am, picking pen involuntary? No, it is not involuntary. Ma'am, insulin production. Insulin is produced by the beta cells, right? So we see that it's produced by the beta cells of the pancreas. Yes. Now we know that the beta cells of the pancreas, we know that there's something known as the islets of Langerhans, right? And there are these beta cells which produce it. Now, when do they produce insulin? When the blood sugar levels or when the blood glucose level is very high. Now, when the blood glucose level is high, more amount of insulin is produced so that cells can take up glucose, right? And on the other hand, excess glucose can be converted into glycogen. Okay? Yes, all right. Okay. Now, so many doubts. Okay, I will try my best to solve this. Okay. Yes, ma'am, phytohormones. See, phytohormones. I have just explained this part, but nonetheless, right? They are nothing but plant hormones, right? And what are plant hormones? They are nothing but chemical messengers. Okay. Chemical messengers or chemical compounds secreted by different parts of the plant, and they regulate various functions, right? So examples are auxin, cytokinin, abscisic acid, and we have gibberellins also. Okay. Ma'am, function of hypothalamus. So we know that the hypothalamus that is there is a part of the forebrain, right? And we know that this has three main functions. So one is it regulates the body temperature or temperature control of the body. Then we also know that it is the pain center, regulates, it's also able to detect pain, hunger, all of this is controlled, right? Yes. Ma'am, involuntary action and autonomous system. See, involuntary action is the action that I'm doing. Autonomous nervous system is the nervous system that is there that controls it, right? Ma'am, medulla and cerebellum, what is the difference? Cerebellum, see, cerebellum is not involuntary function, but mainly it is body posture and muscular coordination, right? These are the functions of cerebellum. Okay, this is very, very important. Medulla controls a lot of it. Where is it synthesized? Different parts. Root tip, shoot tip, it is, synthesized in many different parts. Yes, you can, Bishal, you can do that. Ma'am, how do endocrine glands secrete enzymes? Sanjay, endocrine glands do not secrete enzymes. Endocrine glands that are there, they secrete hormones, right? And what do? We know that there are many cells like this. They will secrete it and they will pour it into the bloodstream. Okay. All right. What else? All of you are, bombarding me with doubts. But see, I told you, at the end of it, I want to make sure that all of you are clear with your concept. I don't mind explaining it 10,000 times also. Ma'am, reflex action. Okay, sure. So when you talk about reflex action and reflex arc, I'll explain this hand in hand. Okay. So we know that if, for example, I am somebody who has gone and I have touched a hot object, right? So here, this right here is the stimulus, right? So this is the stimulus. Now, there are certain cells in my body which is the receptor. So receptors in my skin will detect this, and there in my skin also I'll have various kind of receptors, right? And we know that this will then send an impulse through, so let me make this big. So this will then send an impulse to the central nervous system, and in this case it is going to be the spinal cord, right? And we know that the spinal cord will get this information. But who is transmitting this information? It is the sensory neuron, right? So sensory neuron is transmitting it from receptor to central nervous system. Now from here, what is the action that I should do? I should take my hand off, which means that the muscles of my hand, right? Muscles of my hand should get the information. So the muscles of my hand here is the effector. And who is going to tell my effector that, hey, you know what, you have to do this? This information from the central nervous system to the effector is passed by the motor neuron. So this right here, what you see, was a very quick, right? So we see that this was a quick, immediate response to a stimuli. So any action, I will add this. So any action which is a quick, immediate response to a stimuli is known as a reflex action. And the pathway that is there is called as the reflex arc, okay? Are we clear with reflex action, reflex arc? I have just done it on screen, okay? All right. Heterocrine are nothing but mixed glands that are there, right? Which are both endocrine and exocrine. So that is nothing but your pancreas, which is heterocrine, which acts both, you have, we see that it produces digestive juices, which is the exocrine function. Then you have endocrine, right? Okay. Are we clear, everybody? Are we clear? You have bombarded me with doubts, but I hope now we are clear with most questions, right? Function of neuron is transport of impulse, right? Yes, Abhinav, yes, all right. Feedback mechanism, see, it is not part of NCERT, but feedback mechanisms basically regulate how much of the hormone is produced. If it is too much, then it needs to be pulled back. Okay, all right. So study material, I hope we are clear. Alone, if you are not clear, you ask me what your doubt is, bacha. Ma'am, please explain heredity chapter. Oh, that I will not be able to do. You can check out Ankita ma'am's video. Ma'am, how endocrine gland secretes it from where? See, there are cells in the endocrine gland that secrete it, right? So that is important. Oh, okay, is it so? But no, it is a nastic movement. Yes, it is nastic. I am sure of it. Antipastic, I am not sure alone. I'll have to check that out. I'm not able to recall what it is right now. Okay? No problem, Akshu. You can always come back and watch the whole part. Thinking part of the brain is the cerebrum. That is the thinking part. Any more doubts? Exocrine, endocrine. I'll do it right away. See, because later on when I'm explaining the PYQs, I don't want you all to be asking me extra doubts, right? I need you all to be solving it. What are exocrine glands? what are endocrine glands? So basically these are glands which pour their secretion directly into the bloodstream, right? While here we see that these guys pour in their secretion into ducts, alright, which take it from site of production to the target site, right? So that is the difference between exocrine and endocrine, okay? Are we clear? This is ductless, this is glands with duct. You can take a screenshot of all of this. Ma'am, how cerebrum is responsible? That is a very deep question, okay? Because see, at the end of it, when you think about it, there are so many neurons, the way they are connected, and how to be honest is something that even everybody is still figuring out, how it is a seat of intelligence. Plant hormones, bacha, is just explained, just rewind a little bit on this video, you will be able to find it. Ma'am, opening of closing of flower. See, there are some flowers which open and close morning and night, right? That morning and night, that opening closing is nastic movement. Something that you see in oxalis, okay? Oxalis leaves, they show this. That is nastic movement. Yes. When is my next class? Probably next week, right? In 9 and 10, it will be next week. Okay. Now very quickly. Yes. What is the difference between insulin and glucagon? I have already explained this, but I will tell you once again. You all will ask me, so I am telling you now. Insulin and glucagon. Firstly, where it is synthesized, right? Insulin is synthesized or produced by the beta cells of islets of Langerhans. This is produced by the alpha cells, right? What does insulin do? Insulin helps in uptake of cells, or it helps in the uptake of glucose by the cells and converts excess glucose into glycogen. And this is responsible for converting glycogen into glucose, right? So technically when you think about it, this decreases blood sugar levels while this increases blood sugar levels, okay? All right, are we clear? Are we clear? What are beta cells, type of cell that you find, okay? Ma'am, what deficiency or lack of glucagon does it happen? I am not aware. I'll get back to you on that, Sanjay. Ma'am, glucose or glycogen clear कीजिए. Glucose क्या होता है? Simple carbohydrates, wherein we know that it's utilized for the production of ATP, for energy. Glycogen, just like how plants store, plants store glucose, excess glucose as starch, right? In our body, we store excess glucose as glycogen. Yes, all right. Now everyone, we are going to finish it off, and then I'll take the last 5 questions. Okay? Then I'll take more doubts. Quickly, Josh, बढ़ा दीजिए chat पे. So many doubts I have cleared. I hope we have hit 100 likes, okay? I hope we have all hit 100 likes. If you have not liked this video, bachas, now it's very bad, no? Jaldi like the video. Yes, next set of questions. All right, next set of questions, last 5 questions, and then I'm going to do doubts, okay? Now doubt clearing, I'm going to stop for some time. All right, last 5 questions, quickly we will do. Again, for those of you who are asking me, I am going to explain this. What are phytohormones? List 4 types of phytohormones. Where are they synthesized? Repeated question in 2017, 3 marks. Now you only have to tell me the answer to this, right? We've already discussed this. We know what phytohormones are. They are nothing but chemical messengers, or which are also known as plant hormones, right? And we know that their site of production and action are different. Yes, so we know that the different types that are there are auxin, gibberellin, cytokinin, abscisic acid, and ethylene. Yes, now moving on, we have to also write about their site of synthesis, right? So in the case of site of synthesis, we know that auxins are synthesized in shoot of apical meristem and of course in young leaves. Gibberellins are produced by meristem and apical buds, and of course in the case of cytokinin, you will also have to write about where it is produced. So here mainly you can start with this. This is a 3-mark question. So start with the definition of what is phytohormone, then move ahead to talking about the role of phytohormone, and then make a table and write it down. 3 marks you will get, right? Ma'am, auxin is present in root and shoot tip? Yes. So you can specify how it's produced by the meristematic tissue in the root and shoot tip. Yes? Alright. Shailendra, that is related to life process, bacha, but I'll go ahead and explain that answer towards the end. We are going to wind up with control coordination. Are we all clear with this? Are we clear with this question? It's a repeated question, but what is your takeaway from this? That phytohormones are important. Plant hormones I have to study and go because a lot of questions can come from plant hormones, right? So very, very important. I know I've taught a lot of it already. Moving on. What happens when a growing plant detects light? You have to explain in brief. 3 marks for this question. Now, if you look at it, it's a part of the previous one. So that means basically both together will give you 3 marks, but nonetheless, tell me what will happen when a growing plant detects light. This is very easy, guys. There's only one part you have to explain in detail. Phototropism occurs. Very good. Phototropism occurs. Bending of light occurs due to auxin concentration. Exactly. Very good, Jay. Very, very good. Exactly. So we know that where there is a growing plant that detects light, we know that the plant will bend towards the light, right? And we know that this is a movement which we know as phototropism. Now the question is, we need to explain in brief. Now when you're talking about it, you need to talk about how plant growth that happens, especially when we talk about cell elongation, that is done by auxin. And we know that auxin is responsible for cell elongation. But auxin that is there is a light sensitive hormone. That means that if it comes in direct contact with light, it will not function properly and it will get destroyed. Which is why auxin will start to accumulate in the opposite direction, right? So we know that it will start accumulating in the opposite direction. And when that happens, then we know that this accumulation will cause the bending of the plant towards the light, right? So that is something that you need to do. What is a hormone? Hormone is nothing but a chemical messenger which brings about certain chemical changes. Where is auxin produced? Auxin is produced in the root and shoot tips. Yes? So here are all the points, okay? Take a screenshot of this, everybody. You will get 3 marks for elaborating it, okay? Very, very important topic. I have stressed on this, okay? Very, very important topic. Santosh, if you want a detailed explanation on hormones, what are hormones and animal hormones, you can check out my video on animal hormones. I have done it elaborately, okay? So you can find that video and you can explain it, because this is more like a question answer kind of session, right? Ma'am, notes of this chapter will be available to you on our Telegram channel. It will be there. Are we clear, everybody? Have you all taken a screenshot? Have you all taken a screenshot? Give me a thumbs up. Yes, exactly. This is a very important question, and trust me, chances are in your board exam also, right? They can ask you this. Ma'am, are notes free? Absolutely free. Nothing you have to pay, right? Ma'am, will you start for other chapters also? We've already done for life processes. Now we're doing control coordination. Next week we'll be doing how do organisms reproduce. Gastric glands, bacha, we have already discussed this in life process. Gastric glands produce gastric juice. Last 4 questions and we'll wind up, okay? Then it's dinner time, no? So quickly, list the sequences that occur when a plant is exposed to unidirectional light leading to the bending of a growing shoot. Also name the hormone synthesized and the type of hormone that and the type of movement that takes place. So your key points again, they have twisted the question a little, but you know, right? We know that again it is on phototropism and it is on auxin. right? So two questions we have already encountered that will come on phototropism and auxin. So if you have not been taking your plant hormone seriously, we know that it is high time that we do it. I am not spending time on this because I've already explained this to you. So write these pointers down. Again, when it is unidirectional light, auxin is synthesized, auxin will diffuse towards the shady side. This will result in the accumulation, will cause bending. This is known as phototropism, where the shoot is growing towards the light. Okay, very, very important, everybody. I hope that you're making a note of this. Now, last one. All of you who still want me to explain reflex arc, it is here. Define reflex arc and draw a flow chart which shows the sequence of events that occur during sneezing. So here they have just given you a question, okay, what will happen during sneezing? But it's very simple, right? What is reflex arc? It is defined as the pathway. No, wrong. You'll have to write down it is the shortest pathway or the shortest route taken by the nerve impulse during a reflex action. Right? So what will happen when we sneeze? That is what you will have to write. So we know that when we sneeze, it happens because something irritates the inner lining of our nose, right? So we know that sometimes some foreign particles might, irritate us, and as a result, we know that the sensory neuron takes the information from the receptors in the nose to the brain or the spinal cord, right? And here it will analyze the information. So wherever spinal cord is there, I'm going to rewrite this to CNS, okay? So the CNS will analyze the impulse and transmit them to the motor neuron. And finally, we know that these foreign particles need to be forcefully expelled out from the body. So what is sneezing? It is nothing but the forceful. It is the forceful expelling of foreign particles, right? So this is something that you need to be here. Ma'am, here olfactory receptors will be responsible. Yes, the olfactory receptors are responsible for it here. And finally, we know that at the end of it, right, it will send it to the motor neurons. And then, of course, so here I'm going to remove this one point. So once the impulse is transmitted, the motor neuron will take it to the CNS, and effectively we will sneeze it out, right? So that is what happens during sneezing. Are we clear? Are we clear with this? So I'm scratching out some extra stuff because it's very complicated. I'm trying to make it as easy as it's possible for all of you. So that one point in between we don't need. It's unnecessary. So I'm just scratching it out. Take a screenshot, everyone. Yes, everybody quickly. Very good, very good. Yes. So this, of course, is how you're going to write your answer. Last two questions. Sorry about that. Last two questions. List 4 plant hormones and write one function each. 2014 pe this question has come, but nonetheless, we have already discussed. We have discussed what are plant hormones, and we have discussed about 4 plant hormones, right? So you can write about gibberellins, auxin, abscisic acid, and cytokinin and write down their function. Gibberellin is stem elongation. Auxin promotes cell elongation. Abscisic acid induces dormancy in buds and seeds. And what does cytokinin do? It promotes cell division, right? So this is the answer to it. Now moving on to the next one. The different parts of the brain are associated with specific functions. Name the part of the brain which performs the following function. So you have 4 things, and each of it you will have to identify which part. 4 marks for this question. So 1 mark for each of it. This is easy but a little tricky, I'll tell you that. What is responsible for the sensation of feeling full? What is responsible to hunger and food, our food habits? Which part is it? Can you tell me? Very good, everybody. Very good. I can see a lot of answer. Lot of interesting answers. Lot of correct answers coming in. Yes, exactly. It is hypothalamus. So this right here is hypothalamus. Now what about vomiting? Who is responsible for vomiting? Can you tell me? Vomiting, which is kind of like an involuntary thing, right? Voluntary but involuntary, yes. Ma'am, there is further division in spinal and cranial. There is, but you don't need to know. So hypothalamus that is there is like the structure which is there in the brain, which I will show you in the diagram. Medulla, okay. Picking up of pencil and riding bicycle. I am writing your answers and then I will tell you if this is correct or no. Because you have told me medulla. What about picking pencil? Picking pencil, riding bicycle. Okay. Picking pencil, you are all saying cerebellum or cerebrum. I can see a competition. So some of you are saying cerebrum for this and some of you are saying cerebellum for this. Alright, let's see. Now the first one that okay, let me just have this diagram here. So the first one that we saw was what? The first one that we have was a sensation of feeling full. That is regulated by the hypothalamus. Now a lot of you are asking me, ma'am, where is hypothalamus? Hypothalamus is this part here in the brain, right? Regulates body temperature. It is responsible for having that feeling of hunger, sensation of feeling full. All of that is the hypothalamus. Now the next part is vomiting. Now the vomiting is regulated by the medulla oblongata because we know that this movement, the regurgitation of food is involuntary, right? The movement of muscles and everything is not something we can control. So it is medulla oblongata. Then of course we had picking up of a pencil, alright? So we have picking pencil and we have riding bicycle. Picking pencil, the decision to pick a pencil or pick up my pen is by my cerebrum. But for me to have all my muscles coordinate, it will be cerebellum, right? Which is why the last two that are there are regulated by the cerebellum because it requires precision in voluntary, like precision in voluntary functions, right? So that's why the answer is cerebellum for the last two. Are we clear with this? You will get 4 marks if you write this. Are we clear? First two though you have got, third one you made a mistake, right? So most of you have scored actually 3 marks out of 4 marks. Are we clear everybody? Are we clear? Have we all fallen asleep in class in between? Has that what happened? Yes, ma'am, how many questions are there? Last one, last 2. Yes, very good. Okay, last one, question number 20. Yes, with this we are done. Draw the diagram of a neuron and name and label the part where information is acquired, through which information travels as an electric impulse, and where the electric impulse must be converted into chemical signal for onward transmission. 3 marks, that means you will get 1 mark for diagram and at least 2 marks will go here, or normally how I would divide it would be 1.5 and 1.5. What is the first one? From where information is acquired? Very good. It is dendrite. Next one. Through which information travels as an electric impulse? Yes, very good. It is axon. And where an electric impulse gets converted into a chemical signal? Axon terminal. See here they are talking about part of neurons. So I'll agree axon terminal, but technically it should be synapse, right? Answer should be synapse here. Because we're talking about where the conversion takes place. So you can say nerve ending, synapse, both are fine. Axon terminal, I'll tell you why I think the axon terminal is marked as the answer, is because they're talking about the part of the neuron, right? So synapse is not part of a neuron. Synapse is a gap between 2 neurons, which is why in this case the answer will be axon terminal. So you have dendrite, axon and axon terminal. Now here of course you have to draw and write. So very quickly for those of you who want a diagram of the neuron, this is how you can draw it, okay? So you can make a star mark like this, drawing the cell body. Make a long process here and then end it in this fashion. Okay? Now from here draw your branches. Right, these are your dendrites. Draw a prominent nucleus. Draw the insulation on the axon. And done. Now do your labeling. This is dendrite. This is cell body. Or you can write cyton. Then this right here is axon, and then your axon terminal. And then after that, once you do this, write the answers. So at the bottom you can write here, A will be dendrites. Then B here will be axon. And C here will be axon terminal. Are we clear, everyone? Are we clear? If you do this, 3 marks you will get. Okay? Axon terminal, you can write nerve ending. I am fine with both. They are correct. Are we clear, everybody? Are we clear? What is cell body? Another name for cyton. That's all. Now, with this, how are you feeling about the chapter control and coordination? If you are somebody who has sat from the beginning to the end of today's class, 2 hours 15 minutes, if you have given it to me, technically 2 hours because I started only by 7:15, right? 2 hours you have given your time to me. How are you feeling now? Ma'am, easy chapter, right? Exactly. Yes. So my main point is that if you are going to be regular to our channel, right? If you are going to start being a little more serious in class, you come prepared. We are doing 45-minute summary. Then we are coming up with your PYQs. When we are doing all of this, right? We will definitely help you, right? So everybody, please be regular. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button because we make sure that things are going to be easy for all of you, right? Yes. Ma'am, name of the chemical that gets converted. See, normally in the synapse, right, we have we call it as what? We call it as the neurotransmitter, right? So this neurotransmitter that is there is what helps in converting it from electrical signal to chemical. And an example of this would be acetylcholine. Yes. All right, everybody. How's the Josh? How are we feeling? Are we feeling good? Ma'am, function of cyton. Cyton is a cell body. It's part of the cell, right? So we know that it just acts as, what do you say? We know that it has certain granules. It functions at a cell. Very simple and easy. Ma'am, location of cranium cavity. Okay, I think you meant cranium. See, cranium cavity is inside your cranium. It's inside your skull, right? That is where it is found. So that is what we mean by it, right? Okay. So with this, everybody, I hope that all of your doubts are clear. If you found the session helpful, then I really request all of you to let me know in the comment section below. What is TSH? TSH is nothing but thyroid stimulating hormone. And this right here is produced by the pituitary gland, and this hormone controls the functioning of the thyroid gland, right? Yes. So for those of you who are clear with this, I hope now it is clear for all of you. Here's a quick reminder for everybody, right? Here's a quick reminder that we are having the parent club on 21st, and this is for your parents as well as you, where Chetna ma'am is going to be talking about how goal setting helps you, right? So this is very, very important. The registration is available in the description box. So please make sure that you do register. Ma'am, in the axon tail, let me check that. Ma'am, in axon, the entire tail structure including insulation or just internal part. It's not like a wire, but it's only here that you have to draw the insulation, right? So that is something. What message does the brain send? It sends electrical impulses, right? So everybody, with this I'm going to be winding up, and you know that BYJU'S 9th and 10th grade has always got you covered. I hope you enjoyed today's class, because I surely did. And you know, right, all the important playlists are made available to you. The smart playlist is there. Just go check it out. You will find everything in that. And I only request you, right, just put your faith in us, put your trust in us. You subscribe to this channel, and all of us teachers are here for you, because it's not that you are giving your board exams alone. It's also as good as us giving your board exams with you. So all we ask you in turn is to like this video, share this video with your friends, and do not forget to subscribe to our channel and stay subscribed, right? Share it with your friends, help them out. Trust me, we are going to be there for you. Ma'am, how do you practice speaking English? Of course, it came with a lot of practice when I was in school, right? So I used to practice when I was in school. So if you want to improve your English, try out the spoken English classes that we have. It will definitely help you out. Any more doubts, bachas, let me know in the comment section. I will definitely answer. But up until then, I hope you enjoyed today's class because I surely did. Hoping to see you all very soon again. Bye everybody. Good night.